Hey City Church, we are so excited that you're joining us on live stream. We want to tell you a little bit about Northern Gospel Project. It's a really exciting venture where we're wanting different churches across Manchester to partner together to see more churches planted. You'll know that City Church's vision is to see 2 churches planted within our 10 years, our 10-year vision that we have. The Northern Gospel Project, partnering together, hopes to see 30 churches planted by 2030. It's a great way for us as a church to say, partnering together, partnering with other like-minded Christians who want to see churches planted, mean we can achieve more together than we could apart. And it's such an exciting thing to think that even if we are different, with different theological backgrounds, with different doctrinal distinctives, if we are centered around the gospel, we can partner together, be generous together, work together to see Manchester be impacted by the gospel. So you're going to see a couple of videos about why we really prioritize that, why that's really exciting. We'd love for you to join the conference. Let me particularly highlight the Saturday where we would love everybody to come along. If you're thinking church planting is just for people who are in ministry, just for church planters, just for a core team couple or a core team person or a core team individual, please know that even if you are a member of a church who is quite comfortable and settled in church and staying at City, which we'd be so thrilled if that's the case, we'd still love your prayers. Remember what Ralph said last week, prayers move the hand of God. And so we want our church family, we want people to attend and pray with us so that we might see 30 churches planted by 2030. What an exciting opportunity. I'd love for you to see the videos right now.
Starting a new church takes a lot more work than probably most people realise.
If most church planters are like me, you think you know more than you know, and it's only when you start experiencing roadblocks that you realise, oh my goodness, there's a lot more to learn.
The benefit is that we understand Manchester. So there is, for me personally, 13 years of experience planting in the city. And so often church planters come with training from perhaps somewhere else and they don't have the flavour of the city. I think having training based in the city that you're planting in, actually I think is a very powerful thing.
We've got a menu of training options depending on the stage you're at and what your involvement at the church plant will be. On the one hand, we have Broadcast Church Planting. That is an online platform for church planter training.
We realised that there was a training need that a digital solution would help with. So we set up Broadcast and we started doing some webinars. We got some experienced church planting practitioners into the living rooms of people who were on the ground, opportunity to ask questions and engage with teaching.
To complement that, we have something called Plant North, which is a 1-year training course. That's really aimed particularly at church planters and pastors, particularly pastors who are thinking, what would it look like to launch a church plant out of our church? Then we have something called the City to City Incubator. That's a 2-year training course, 8 sessions a year. And the idea is you should be between 6 months out from starting a church plant or 2 years into starting a church plant. And you do that 2-year course in a cohort with other church planters, where you're really focusing on the soft skills of church planting, learning from one another in a very collaborative way, putting together a portfolio based on the church you're seeking to plant. In a church plant, you need to have excellent communication. And we're often reliant on volunteers to do that. So one of the things we want to do is get together the volunteers within church plant launch teams and have them trained by people who are professional, who work for churches and communications, to help them to know what they're doing, to get alongside them, to say it's okay, and to encourage them in that.
So back when I was trying to figure out where to plant a church, one of the reasons Manchester was such an attractive option to me, alongside the fact that there was an amazing gospel opportunity here, was the fact that there was funding available to support church plants and church planters.
Everything we do costs money. We need to rent rooms, we need to get promotional materials made.
The reality is having people investing financially meant that we were able to plant a small church, but with a lead pastor and an assistant pastor and also an intern, which meant that we were able to do a lot more because we had, for the size of our church, a massive staff team.
The fact that I didn't have to worry about finance in the first few years of the church planting journey was just a huge pressure off my back. I was able to bring staff on to our church plant. I was even able to get a really great venue and invest time and effort and energy, not into trying to raise support, but to actually doing gospel ministry and seeing the church flourish. And so the fact that the Northern Gospel Project provides that funding platform is a great benefit for potential church planters and church plant teams in order to see good, healthy gospel churches planted and thriving here in Manchester.
I guess when you're planting a church, you're not planting it for what it is at the start, but you're planting it for what you're praying it will become. And one of the issues is often we don't have the resources for what the church is going to become because it hasn't become that yet. So the idea with seed funding is you provide the financial resources in advance for the church to become like that.
Seed funding is just to get you over the hill, to get you started before perhaps you've got your own money coming in. Can just be very useful for getting things moving.
And with this fund, it's a replenishing fund. So once you're in that position to be on that sort of financial level, you can then pay back in to see more works happen in the future.
In those early days, having people who can help with that, take a bit of the burden, is such a blessing for a church planter.